Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this video is a very sad video that I have to make, but I had to touch on this situation. It stems from a shooting in broad daylight in Goldsboro, North Carolina on January the 4th of this year at 11:52 in a public arena where people are shopping. Three men, Mr. Jalil McDuffie, 21, Demaj Oates, 19, and Taiwan Bennett, 18, all of Goldsboro, North Carolina, felt it necessary to exchange or fire guns in that mall area. Now, the pictures that you saw on the thumbnail are of each of the three men. I obtained that photo from a ABC 11 news article. And I don't know which individual is which. I'm pretty sure many of you know these guys. They're probably someone's son, someone's brother, someone's nephew, maybe even someone's father. So that makes it even more disturbing that these three young black males decide to go into a occupied mall and fire rounds, multiple rounds, and I'm not sure whether it was at each other or another individual. Nevertheless, they put a multitude of lives in danger by their actions. Now, these gentlemen were caught shortly thereafter, and each one of them have been charged with a myriad of charges, including attempted murder, discharging a firearm in an enclosure, going armed to the terror of the public. Now, that's a charge I've never heard of, but it definitely fits this. And carrying a concealed weapon. Let's focus on that third charge, going armed to the terror of the public. Imagine being in that mall and three gunmen just open up fire, and they're opening up random gunfire, and they're running by you, and you have your children on your arm, or even maybe your children are across the walkway, looking at some tennis shoes. How terrified would you be? And what's most interesting about this is all of this was caught on camera. Now, if you have not seen the video, I'm going to show this video very soon. I have it right here on my phone, so I'm going to show you the video. But I do want to talk about this war. And by meaning of war, I'm saying this war on black men by other black men. Many people don't want to talk about it. We always want to talk about the injustice of, the police brutality, injustice in the court system, injustice economically, which all those things are true and should be addressed. But first and foremost, as one of the gospel songs declares, that you got to sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around somebody else's. So in this video, I do want to address the heavy prevalence of gun violence in Goldsboro, North Carolina. There were a few other shootings. I'm probably going to do some stories on those individually. But, during the new year, I think there was a shooting which caused a death in the old projects, as well as another broad daylight shooting at the corner store, known to many affectionately as Donnell's, where multiple people got hit as well. and more, myriads or more instances of shootings around the city. So, we must ask ourselves is why is our young men uh, becoming willing participants in their own destruction? What I mean by that is, they have all this access to this heavy artillery, but they're walking around just shooting each other. Where's this self-hate coming from? Now, one aspect I refer to is the music. Almost every song you hear, entices the young boys to want to be a killer. The drill music, things like that. And we cannot discount the fact that those things have influences to the youth, but also, a lot of social factors, the lack of fatherhood, the lack of opportunity, lack of education, all of those things go into play. But one thing is definitely lacking, and that is self-love. Because if you love yourself, you wouldn't kill anybody that looks like yourself, but also you wouldn't put yourself in a position where you are like these men being held without job, without bond, but also possibly facing the rest of your life in prison. Now, I'm going to read a little bit from this article. The incident led to the mall being closed early for the day, and it also put nearby schools, elementary schools, in a place of lockdown where, parents or students couldn't leave because the public was so concerned about these gunmen on the loose who had the unmitigated gall to shoot in a public setting. Now, these gentlemen were found in a nearby housing complex on Caswell Drive. Now, what is telling about this situation? It says officials said that the shooting was not random, and all of the suspects knew each other. Now, we'll see, according to this video, you will see, and actually I'll just show the video right now because it's definitely relevant to what we're saying. Let's see if we can see it here. Everybody have to come inside with a scanner. Right there. So there you see, well, you didn't see the gunshots, but you definitely hear the gunshots, and you see two of the gunmen dressed in all black in hoodies fleeing after shots were fired. Now, you don't see the other suspect or the other young man. I don't like calling them suspects. You don't see the other young man, and so my question is, were those two young men shooting at the other young men? Or, were all three shooting at another individual and they just left in different vicinities, or they left in a different trajectory of escape? Nevertheless, it's still saddening that, of course, if you walking around the mall with a gun and all black, you know that you came to do just what these young men did. And once again, I don't know any of the young men, and I'm not passing judgment. Of course, they're all innocent until proven guilty, but in this system, we know that they are guilty until proven innocent. But I just want to know the mindset, of these young men, 18, 19, and 21, who would go out to the mall in broad daylight. Now, we might meet to the mall to fight, or we might meet to the mall to, to go chill and play video games. But have a shootout in broad daylight is definitely a telling of, this generation that we see. Miss Jaslyn Rascon, who works at one of the stores in the mall, said she was off, but she had to come in to help close the store. She said, our store manager saw 4 guys running down the hall, heard 3 to 4 gunshots, and the bullet shells went into our store. So they had to do a whole investigation and had to leave the gate open. She had gone home, and then she called me to come and close the gate for her. She also expressed safety concerns. I feel like the violence is getting worse here. I don't feel as safe working here at the mall anymore. I feel kind of scared because we leave here at late at night by ourselves. Now, all of the lockdowns were lifted by 1:30 p.m. Now, mind you, that was Thursday. Today is Tuesday, and the suspects are in custody. But this lady feels unsafe. Even going to the mall and working her, her job, which I'm pretty sure that the amount of money that she makes does not equate to her safety. And so, I just want to know, who can explain it to me? Who knows those young men? Once again, I know they are probably somebody's son, somebody's nephew, somebody's brother. And once again, I put their pictures up there because their pictures are on this news site right here. But it's funny because I heard a young lady tell me the other day, I am terrified. I am scared of being in the city of Goldsboro. And, I had to laugh because I think she stays over there in those Caswell Drive apartments where the young men were apprehended. So it's not just Goldsboro. It's everywhere. Shots are being fired in the East Wayne area. Mount Olive has had a bevy of shootings of late. Wherever you go, it's not just Goldsboro. So, please don't get it twisted. I've been in Goldsboro for the past 3.5 years. And I be out, but I don't be out. Like, I don't be out in places where, people are selling drugs or hanging out and things of that nature. But I be out and nothing has happened to me. And I want people to understand that the majority of the time, and I say majority, most of your people who are getting shot, who are getting robbed, who are getting in those situations are those participating in criminal activity. It's very rare that the average citizen going about minding their own business gets caught up in a robbery, gets caught up in a random act of violence. Now, once again, I said it's very rare. I'm not saying it does not happen. But the majority of the individuals, if you look at them, the ones who are getting shot, the ones who are getting killed, the ones who are, getting robbed or doing the robberies, if you look at their social medias or if you look at their life, they are involved in criminal activity. So those activities, those results, those consequences, those occurrences are only happening to those who are involved in those situations. So, but I understand the concerns of those who may not be familiar with that lifestyle, who may have never, heard gunshots, who may not, may have never been shot, or, may have never been robbed or went to jail or seen a gun or heard gunshots. I understand those concerns. But let me assure you that, the average person in Goldsboro, North Carolina, who goes home and goes to work, is considerably safe instead of, those property crimes. Like, when somebody breaks into your car or breaks into your home, those are crimes of opportunity. So they don't discriminate. But, it's very rarely that some people are just walking up in random houses shooting people. So let's get that straight. But not to digress from the subject of, our young black men out here just committing these acts with, wanton abandonness, with brazen chutzpah, to go in a public place at 11:52 a.m. and, exchange gunfire. And I wish, I knew, those individuals, because they have them all lumped up as, they were in cohorts together against someone, or maybe once again they had some sort of beef with each other. But it's very sad and it's very sickening that people cannot go into a public mall. You know, and all people always joke about Berkeley Mall on, you know, how minuscule or how you know, how little it is, you know, or the lack thereof of stores. But you know, even that, you know, even if it just has a little bit of things. I think I went to Bath and Body Works and bought some Christmas gifts not too long ago, and you know, I could just imagine being in there where there's gunfire erupting like that, and you don't know where those bullets are going to land or who they're going to hit. You know, as the lady said, the shotgun shells fell in her store. But, you know, my prayers goes out to, once again, these young men who have already been taken in custody. Mr. Jaleel McDuffie was charged once again with attempted murder, discharging a firearm, going armed to the terror of the public, and felony carrying of a gun. He's 21 years old. Life changed forever. Demars Oates. Discharging a firearm, going to the terror of the public. And Taiwan Bennett. Attempted murder, discharging a firearm, going armed to the terror of the public, and misdemeanor carrying. And the only one that was not charged with attempted murder was Demars Oates. So maybe, and once again, I'm just speculating, is, you know, he was a young man who was defending himself. I'm not sure. But, you know, my prayers go out to those young men, and maybe, hopefully, that this incident is the one that will realize, or make them realize, that, you know, this is not a game. And, you know, maybe, you know, this punishment, whatever it may be what is needed to get these young men on the right track. But definitely, this is something that is not foreign, you know, to this community. Once again, when I was 16, 17, and 18, you know, I was playing with guns. And by playing with guns, mean carrying them and, you know, occasionally, you know, firing them. You know, fortunately for me, I never had, you know, to use one in that capacity, you know, as many of my friends had to do. So I don't blame the parents, because once again, I was one from a prototypical good household, but once again, I was influenced by the allure of the street life. Now it's the gang life. So I don't know if this was some sort of maybe gang initiation or gang mission. You know, I'm not familiar with, you know, the inner workings of those organizations, but I know that, you know, those young men are very organized, and, you know, many of them, you know, could possibly run Fortune 500 companies with the level of organization and the intellect and the ambition that I have seen in some of the young men. Nevertheless, they choose to use it in a more detrimental fashion. And so that's what, you know, makes me want to go even harder with preventing the youth from going that way. Because once again, once you know, I know some young guys out there, I see they're about 14 or 15 and they're already carrying big guns, you know, already, you know, on, you know, probation and what have you. So once you reach that level, it's kind of, you know, they're not irreparable. But, you know, you're going to have to, you know, they're going to have to go through some things, just as I did, once you start reaching that plateau. So, you know, you want to start catching the kids at even 8 or 9. And even then, you know, some of those children have been exposed to that type of behavior and want to drift towards that type of behavior. And, you know, even then, it's kind of hard to even reel them back in or even show them the dangers of it, because it's what they see. Children live what they learn. Meaning, you know, whatever they see, that's what they're going to emulate. And so, once again, my heart goes out to those young men. Hopefully, you know, this was not only a lesson to them, but also a lesson to their others or friends or, you know, people who may be going that route. But once again, my number is 919-587-7782. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that I said in this video, please feel free to reach out. You know, I mean this video with no ill intent, but I definitely want to address the outrageous amount of gunfire and gunplay that our city has seen, not only, you know, in the beginning of the year, but all of last year and many of the years gone past. So 919-587-7782. Reach out to me anytime. Peace and blessings to all.